Are you liable to suffering?
Yeah.
How?
Well, things can happen
Okay.
on account of which I won't be pleased.
So is that a problem?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying I still make a problem out of things. Yeah.
No, I mean suffering is the problem. Whether you're liable to it.
Suffering is the problem.
Is it the problem? Your liability to it.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Because obviously nothing now is happening that's displeasing you in the present moment.
Yeah. It's funny.
So how do you know that liability to suffering is a problem?
I guess the thought of the possibility of suffering.
But how do you know it's a problem? Or rather, why is it a problem?
Yeah. So there's the thought of the possibility of suffering.
Mm-hmm. Just the possibility of suffering.
Yeah, the possibility of suffering.
Yeah.
And that's automatically assumed to be a problem.
Yes. Yeah. And why is it assumed to be a problem? It's a right assumption, by the way. It is a problem. But how do you know? How do you know that? How do you know it's a problem? What is the measure?
Craving, fear,
What is the necessary base for craving?
feeling,
So how is it felt?
unpleasant.
So that's why it's a problem.
Yeah.
Because you already suffer
Yeah.
on the fact that you don't suffer right now,
Yeah.
but you could suffer.
Yeah. Exactly.
So possibility of suffering is suffering.
Yeah.
And the reason why when the direction is because it can sound as if, oh well, things can change and then I'll suffer.
Oh yeah.
Which means I either have to wait for things to change or try to prevent them from changing in order to be dealing with the suffering.
Yeah. I mean, even some people, often I hear people saying, "Oh, we all know what freedom from suffering is like." There are those occasions when everything's
when we
lovely
don't suffer,
and we don't suffer.
And that's the point. So you not suffering now doesn't mean you're free from suffering.
No.
And or you suffering now, again, doesn't mean you're under suffering, so to speak. You're under suffering when basically on the level of possibility of suffering,
Yeah.
you don't know the escape from that.
That's it. Yeah. That's what it is. It's not knowing the escape.
So the actually enduring suffering, if there is presently reason feeling that's unpleasant, or absence of presently enduring suffering, doesn't matter. Suffering is there because you're still liable to the possibility of suffering.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that is present.
Can I say it's not like... It's not being confident of being able to... It's like maybe I'm wrong here. Like I don't feel like I've got no idea about the escape from suffering, but it's not confidence of like no matter what happened, the escape is known.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So you don't know the escape.
Yeah.
Because the escape is
Complete.
well, it's complete, but it's not dependent on the type of suffering.
Yeah.
Escape of suffering means escape of nature of suffering, which means doesn't matter what the content of that nature is.
Yeah.
In other words, it's not like sometimes you escape like this, sometimes you escape like that.
Yeah.
The escape from suffering is the escape from that liability to the nature of suffering, which means then it doesn't matter what causes it. You won't need to deal with it because you don't suffer on account of it at that fundamental level. So why do you think then there is not enough confidence in you to know the way out of suffering? What is the reason? So think about it on the level of feeling. Unpleasant feeling.
Yeah. Okay. So it's, I guess that's one way of putting it. Yeah. It's like not liking unpleasant feeling. Not having, again, confidence in being able to withstand any kind of feeling, no matter how unpleasant.
So the whole variety of feelings, where can they be felt?
Where can they be felt?
Yeah.
Where can feelings be felt?
Well, like colloquially speaking, where can you feel all the feelings that could possibly befall you?
Oh, the body?
The body? And where else? Or when?
Oh, right here. Right now.
Right now, right here. Yeah. So, can you feel the feeling in the past?
No.
Inconceivable.
Absolutely inconceivable.
And can you feel the feeling in the future?
No, but it's easy to assume that you can. But yes,
well,
you can't.
It's easy if carelessness is your mode of being.
Yeah. No, but
that's sure that needs to be dealt with beforehand.
Yeah.
So literally, it doesn't matter what past feeling you might remember, what future feeling you might fear or hope for.
Yeah.
It's felt right now.
Yeah.
So, as a container in itself, present enduring feeling can only be felt now.
Yeah.
And it's inconceivable to make it otherwise.
Yeah.
You actually have to ignore it, have to actively engage with acts and decisions and choices that will kind of enable you to ignore the fact that it is felt now. It cannot not be felt now. It's impossible.
So you've talked a lot recently about containers, this nature of containment. That's one of the characteristics of containment, that it's now.
Yes, of course.
It can't not be.
The foundations of mindfulness, it's not optional.
Yeah.
That's why the one who understands that, as I said, he stops thinking like, oh, now I understood the nature of feelings and the nature of anatta. In the past I was, now I'm not, in the future I will not. No, none of that becomes, all of that ceases to be intelligible, to think like that. Oh, I was before, because it's not a linear thing. Whatever it's felt right here, right now, that's what has been understood.
Yeah.
That's whatever has the nature of arising, it has been understood.
I guess most people think of the past, the future and stuff as objective.
Yeah, exactly. It's an external view upon yourself that you have. Like you are in this objective factual world that you can observe independent of your point of view of observation, which is inconceivable. But back onto the practical side of things, more relevant in this case now, while we're speaking. So if you presently recognize that you are liable to suffering, the extent of your liability to suffering cannot be anywhere else except within that presently enduring feeling of suffering on account of possibility to suffer. So anything that needs to be understood cannot be anywhere else except in the present.
Yeah, exactly.
So it might take you 5 days to understand it, but it will be 5 days of understanding what's presently enduring.
Yeah.
Not like in 5 days I will arrive at something that's not here now. It is here now, it's just cluttered. So it might take you a number of days to unclutter it while it is still here now. And the extent of that liability to suffering, whatever that is, directly corresponds to the extent that you haven't understood present enduring feeling.
Yeah.
But if you start thinking like this, you realize this. What is it stopping you then
Yeah.
from understanding it?
It's just a simple attitude to this feeling that's there.
Yeah, attitude that then needs to be peeled off bit by bit, layer by layer.
So, it's allowing the currently enduring feeling to just endure, not trying to get involved in it.
But you can't completely ignore it either, in a sense of you can get overly involved, sure, but you can also get underly involved, so to speak. In other words, you do have a task of, you must understand it. So how can you understand it without getting
something.
overly involved with it? So either way, it needs to endure there. You must stop denying it, and you must stop acting out of it. Just like the automated act towards craving as a habit. And then you also can reevaluate on account of present enduring feeling, whatever the feeling is. You can reevaluate the extent of your liability to suffering. Like, am I still liable to suffering? To what degree?
Would you say, so then understanding the sort of the current feeling involves recognizing that I was subjected to it?
Yeah, sure, that's part of it. You don't always have to go the same way about it. What you need to do is recognize that there is something felt. And then see in what fundamental category that will be sitting in. Pleasant, unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And then that's already, being able to see that way already means, this is something you are subjected to. See, you can say, I have this pleasant feeling is mine, and that's why I'm acting, protecting it, trying to get more of it. But you have absolutely no say in its pleasantness. You cannot create pleasantness of the pleasant feeling. You can only accept it. So what makes pleasantness of the pleasant feeling, it's inconceivable to you. It's just felt pleasantly. You can try and rationalize afterwards as an afterthought and so on, but all of that is in response to being subjected to the pleasantness of a feeling, and same to the unpleasantness of a feeling. And that's why you realize you cannot possibly uproot that. You cannot get under it and take the possession of it. So clarifying that type of image, context, understanding, discernment, and then also preventing the increasing of the clutter, of cover up, through the acts rooted in greed, aversion, delusion. So sense restraint and watchfulness. Not watchfulness for who knows what purpose. I don't know, I'm just watchful. No, you know exactly. The present reason feeling endures, and if I'm not mindful of its endurance on its own, independent of me, I will be acting out of the craving towards it. It's automatic. All you need to do is accept ignorance, ignoring it. Accept turning your blind eye to it. Accept desire for distraction, and everything else will follow effortlessly, like floodgates. All you need to do is open it, then all the pressure will just flow out. But within the mindfulness of present enduring feeling, you can do whatever you want, because you won't be doing anything unwholesome. Because in order to do unwholesome things, you need to be unmindful of the nature of the present enduring feeling. You can't do unwholesome things mindfully.
And then the understanding can only develop if whatever you're doing is within
Yeah, sure.
the feeling
Sure,
and
yeah.
not contradicting it.
Exactly. Then you're becoming with familiar with the nature of how feeling actually is, not how you keep conceiving it to be.
That's the thing, it can't be conceived really, can it?
That's true for another hand.
Yeah.
See, somebody who is still conceiving the feeling, saying the feeling cannot truly be conceived, is true only in theory,
Yeah.
but that contradicts his actual state of mind
Yeah.
that does conceive it.
Yeah.
So that's we need to keep that in mind, because that's how people fall into the view that they think they understood.
Yeah.
What right view is, or what arahantship is, while they know they're still putujanas.
Yeah.
That is inconceivable. It's either or. So yeah, you might have an idea about it, and that idea is true, but it's far from being having been applied to you. I think that's like in the suttas, you probably have that difference between like knowledge and the direct knowledge, what sometimes they translate with.
Yeah. Abhijanati.
So it starts by being just recollecting what is what feeling is enduring right here, right now, while we're talking. And once you recollect, that's more than enough as a container, as a base for mindfulness.
Yeah.
Then when you think, well, what do I do next now?
Well,
instead of following the thought of what do I do next, you see the need to do next within the container.
Exactly. Everything is in
feeling
that
is first, and now within this feeling I have the state of mind that's doubtful and wondering what to do next.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't do anything, because all you need to do is stay rooted in the container that you recollected of presently enduring feeling.
Yeah.
That's how eventually you learn how to stop acting out feelings, which requires loss of that perspective of present enduring feeling. So there is unpleasant feeling, and here I am, busying myself, acting, choosing to get rid of it, to understand it, to rationalize it, to deal with it, one way or the other, to manage it. But if you're properly mindful, management becomes impossible, because any inclination towards management is included within present enduring feeling, and that's effortless. You're not managing anything. You're actually subduing your dependence on craving that need to manage these things. Subduing it by including it. But you can't include it as a matter of your choice. You can't decide this is also included. That's not including I'm talking about. You need to discern, recollect the presently enduring feeling, and then whatever is simultaneously there, that's why it's included. Not because you made it so. Because that's inevitably going to happen until the mind develops certain subtlety in regard to this. You'll get the hint of it, and then you go around including things. Including, and that's not including.
Which is why what you're talking about is also about understanding feeling.
Exactly.
Feeling.
But that's the thing. You don't need to stop including your things. You just need to include that attitude of including things.
Yeah, you include the including.
And you will include that attitude not as a matter of choice, but as a matter of discernment, recollecting the right context, the right order. Whatever I'm trying to include, whatever I'm trying to manage, whatever I'm trying to deal with, things that bother me, things that pull me, it doesn't matter. It's within the present enduring feeling. And whatever I were to do, whatever I used to do, it's within the present enduring feeling. That order cannot be otherwise. When that right order becomes imperturbable, that's basically your samadhi. And there is already a great deal of wisdom there. You cannot have that without understanding what's going on. You just cannot. So it's like, I had this experience and now I need to understand what happened to me. Means you have no idea what happened to you. Now you're just going to reinterpret it, usually in the terms that will be pleasing you. Or playing into the views that you hope you have.
No, this is about Yes, it's that samadhi is entirely based on your understanding.
So against the context of present enduring feeling,
Mm.
that you recognize it's there, arisen, you're within it, you're subjected to it, you then also get to see the state of your mind.
Mm.
Mind affected with doubt, mind free from doubt, mind that craves lust, sensuality, mind that doesn't. It's calm in regard to sensuality, mind a bit annoyed, mind not annoyed. Against or within the container of present enduring feeling. Well, what do I do next? You see that within the container of present enduring feeling. So I don't do anything, you see that within the present enduring container of the present enduring feeling. Sorry. How long do I do this for? Doubt, question included within it. Feeling comes first.
Yeah.
So if you're then wondering, oh, so what can I do then? Well, you cannot do anything anymore.
Mm.
But things will be done.
Yeah, there's no room to do anything anymore.
You doing it.
Yeah.
It's just, you'll just find things being done. And by that point, it will be impossible for those things to be anything other than wholesome or neutral. They cannot be unwholesome, because that requires you choosing that.
Because unwholesome, sort of by definition, is perverting the order.
Perverting the order, exactly. And now the order is imperturbable, thus whatever's done cannot be unwholesome.
Yeah.
That's why certain things Sotapanna cannot do, certain things Arahant cannot do, like impossible to be done, because it requires a necessity of that wrong order, not seeing first as first. Not seeing present enduring feeling, whatever the feeling is, pleasant, unpleasant, neither pleasant nor unpleasant, is a necessary container for any act rooted in your craving. Doesn't matter. And you realize you'll be then quite content with whatever container there is. Doesn't matter anymore. Even unpleasant feeling, so to speak, will not be a source of unhappiness. Because happy, unhappy, or content, discontent, it's the state of your mind.
Within the container.
Exactly. But it's basically state of your mind that either it resists against the container, tries to like take possession of it in order to free the whatever it's bothering the mind. So it's trying to deal with it. There is always a pressure, a burden, a requirement of their duty, dealing with it, defending myself against these feelings. All of that becomes inconceivable, because whatever the mind presents, it's seen within the right order of present enduring feeling. And that's quite indifferent already.
Yeah, so that all of that resisting is actually about trying to change the order.
Because all that resisting,
I can control that container.
All that resisting is rooted in you assuming that you can change the order.
Yeah.
And that's basically the definition of conceit.
Yeah.
Is that subtle perversion whereby just your point of view assumes to that extent itself to be coming first. So then you'll be happy amidst pain. Not like enjoying it sensually, but you will not be discontent, even if there is unpleasant feeling enduring for days. Because discontent is not in what feeling you're subjected to.
No.
Discontent is in that pressure of it, which goes hand in hand with you attempting to deal with it, manage it, remove it, crave against it, crave for it, whatever. Exercise basically, effort towards it. Rather than seeing that any effort you send, you might send, you want to send, you don't want to say, anything you say, yes, no to, both, neither, is within that, and that cannot change.
Within it. Yeah.
So even if you're trying to go towards it, to grab it, to deal with it, to remove it, to destroy it, to repossess it, it's always a step ahead.
Yeah.
Because it's determined by how far you step, that's how far it goes. So you cannot possibly step outside of it. So if you want to be happy, as in free from suffering, see what feeling is there, and doesn't matter if it's not happiness.
Yeah.
And then see that whatever attitude you have towards it
Contain it.
is within that,
Yeah.
not other way around. And stick to that, and you will be unable to suffer. Even if you were to want to suffer. It becomes suffering becomes inconceivable.
Yeah. Very clear instructions.
Yeah. It just needs to be done.
Yeah.
Or maintained.